Okay, so in this video we're going to add our category selection to our form in here. So real quick, let's go back to our code. In here, go to create post inside the form above here. Now here what we're gonna add is something like a Daisy UI component. So we're gonna have to go back to our browser and here go to Daisy UI. In the Daisy UI you can go to components. We're going to get a drop down hover. So just scroll down until you find the drop down hover, this one, because we want to add a drop down to our form. Here in the HTML, just copy the code, go back, paste code. You can paste this code in here. Here in the drop down hover, we're gonna add something like drop down bottom. Let's add ML auto px2. In here in the label, we're gonna remove this button. We don't want this button. I'm gonna add our own CSS. So here text, make it medium, margin bottom, make it 3, width full, flex, text center, gap 3, and border bottom. Alright, so inside our label here, we're gonna add something like choose category. Actually, we can make this, just drop this label like that. In here, we can wrap this into a div and then call it, make a font bold first, and then add choose category inside. I here, this list, as you can see down here, we're just going to change this. We don't want a list element, we want a div. So here, just change this element to div, and then down here also a div. Right now in the class, we're gonna add our own class again, and we can just remove this menu. We're gonna add text, left, padding 2, shadow, XL, border, here background, white, then also a rounded of medium. Right now we can, alright, actually we're gonna remove this margin left out here on top. Remove that. Alright, now we're gonna add a width. We can remove this width 52 and then add a width like the custom width. So make it under brackets and then add 650 pixels with a height of 96. Alright, and in here we have to make this, this width is probably bigger than this half width here, because if you refresh now and then hover, you see it is overflowing there. So let us make this width on the top here 8/12 like that. Now if you refresh, it's bigger and the whole width is showing. Nice. So now inside these items we're gonna add, if you remember in the forms, if you scroll up in the category, we have this category list tree which was made before. So we're gonna use this same kind of setting and CSS. The only thing I'm gonna change is the PHP. Go back to your code, to your create post. We're going to go back to our code. If you go to category, we have this function after this, after this session, the function here, function loop, we're going to need that too. And then here we have this flex call, so we're going to need that too. So just everything that we typed before. We're just going to collapse this, make it easier to copy. And then we're going to copy everything from here in the flex call gap, in here to there. And go back to your create post. And inside in our tab index, remove this list, and then we're going to paste that code here. Yeah, but now we have these categories that we have not yet created in our create post. So let us go to our backend in our create post and then create the categories. This categories is equals to category model. Oh, so now if you go and refresh, you see that now we have something the same like we had before. You see, just something home, kitchen, outdoor like that. And as you can see here, we did not add. Let's add an overflow CSS. Go back and then right above this thing in the create post, in our tab index, here add overflow scroll and overflow hidden. Now if you go back and refresh, yeah, awesome. Now we have something the same kind of layout, which is a tree view. We have this both in our choose category and in our category list here. So perfect. And now we're not going to use this same kind of thing because these things are not here. This, for example, is going to give us an error now if I click. So we're now going to change this. We're going to first remove these delete buttons, and they're going to add something different so that we can choose our category for our post. So now let us go back to our code again. Let's first start with our code. We are now going to remove all the delete buttons. So here where I click delete category, that's going to copy this, delete it. Go down here, this button, delete it. And then go down here again, this button, delete it. Now we have removed that. Next, we want to go and remove this thing. In our function loop here, we have this app dependency stuff, which we don't need in this code. So we're just gonna copy this thing from, and this might be a bit confusing because you might have an error. There are many dots and semicolons and quotation marks. So I will post this code too, like I said, in the resources. You can just copy and paste this part of the code or the whole code if you want. So in here, where there's button, just after this inverted comma, you can copy this, all of it, until here in app dependency, including the dot, this dot and this comma, because we already have a dot here. So delete that. And then now let us try to see if there's any error. Hopefully there's not. If you refresh, okay, no error. And now voila, we have removed all the delete buttons because we don't need them in this create post category. All right, awesome. Now if we click here, nothing's gonna happen yet because there's nothing. We have not yet added a function for selecting our categories. All right, next we're going to have to add wire click send data to our backend. To do that, we're gonna go to our base code in here. We can first start with this one up here. Here after for each loop, looping through our first parent if count as children. In the first looped category, I'm gonna add something like, and that's I almost forgot. Let me first explain something. If you see, we have home category, which is a parent category. It has a child of kitchen, outdoor, and bedroom. Bedroom has a child of closet, and as a child of mattress, which has a child of blue mattress. So when assigning categories, you do not want to assign your posts, your listings, or your articles to the parent category. No. You want to assign to the most child, like let me say the last child. So if you're gonna assign a post, article, listing, or anything to a category, you want to assign it to the child, not the parent or the master parent. No, because this will help you categorize things in a nice way, because you don't want to have items belonging to the outdoor, belonging to the bucket, belonging to the garden. No, you want it to belong to the least child, and we're just gonna call this parent going up. Like for example, in here, if you want to assign something to the home, we're not gonna use the home to assign into a category. No, the home is just going to be the parent to represent the child. But in here, we're going to assign a fridge, bucket, blue mattress, and the closet. These are going to be the only ones which can be selectable. Let's now get back to work. Inside this div, we're gonna add a wire click. We can add this to set category. Here we're going to pass a parameter. The parameter is going to be the category ID. When we click, we're going to send this ID to our backend. Let us now create function for our backend in here. We can just collapse this for now. We can create something like function, enter, set category. So here we're going to receive a variable. So see if we're receiving it, we can just dd out for now, variable. Like that. Now if you go back and refresh, let us now try to click on this one here, and it should work. We are now receiving our data in our backend for our category, but not yet for this one because there's no click here yet. So let us now add this to the rest of our code. So in here, if you go back to the create post up here, and just copy this same code. Before you copy, just for easy programming to make it work the same as I did, just change this to quotation mark, and also quotation mark, also up here inverted commas, inside inverted commas. That was my bad. This is just for readability and functionality. So copy this in here, go to our child here. We're just gonna drop this here. I'm gonna add an if function, if statement. If this child has indeed children, and we're gonna take a count here, just wrap this into a count. If the count is equals to 0, which means if this child has no children, then we're gonna add a wire click, which means it is a last child. In here, we can just go back and get this same code here, the wire click, come back up here and paste it. All right, and then just change this to child. Now, if you go back and then refresh, if you can see now here, this won't be clickable. No, this won't be clickable, neither this nor that. But if you see here, we have tools and we have screwdriver. Screwdriver has no children, which means if we click, it's gonna be clickable. So yeah, like I hope you get the logic I'm trying to explain here. We're not gonna add this same logic to these functions here in our for each loop, because we've added here. Now we're gonna come back and add inside our for each loop in here. Here, in order to add this, in here we have to add a logic, which since we're mixing our HTML and our PHP, we're gonna have to use a lot of concatenation. So here, type 2 inverted commas inside 2 dots. Now we are ready to add our PHP. Add open bracket, close bracket. Yes, we're gonna check if this child has got children. So if child children count is not equals to 0, which means If it has children, then do nothing. Here add quotation marks, or else add a wire click. In here we can just add an open bracket. Inside add two quotation marks. Here add a wire click is equals to inverted commas, set category. It's even showing up here. Yes, set category. We're gonna pass a parameter. Just add two quotation marks, two dots, and we're gonna get this child ID inside here. So yeah, child ID. Now if you go back and refresh, now if you click on the home, no effect. On the list child, we're now having an effect. On the bucket, effect. In here, true. On the blue mattress, effect. And on the closet, we're gonna have an effect too. Now we're able to pass our data to our backend. Now in the next video, we're now going to work on designing this so we can make it more readable like that. So see you in the next video.